My sister raised a champagne glass at her engagement party and said, "To Grandma's house, because at least it finally became useful." Everyone laughed. I was standing by the dessert table with a paper plate in my hand, listening to my family celebrate the sale of the only place where I had ever felt wanted. My name is Claire Whitman. I am 32 years old. For 6 years, I drove across town every morning before work to help my grandmother get dressed, take her medicine, and water the tomatoes she insisted tasted better when someone talked to them. My parents visited on holidays. My sister Brooke visited when she needed photos for social media. But after Grandma died, my parents told me there was no inheritance. "The house has to be sold," my father said. "Your grandmother had expenses." "And Brooke's wedding is coming," my mother added carefully, like that explained everything. I asked one question. "Did Grandma leave a will?" My father looked offended. "Do not make this ugly." That was the phrase my family used whenever I asked for the truth. Do not make this ugly. It meant smile while Brooke got the bigger room. It meant say nothing when my parents paid her college rent, but told me to take loans. It meant bring a gift to her bridal shower, even after I found out the venue deposit came from selling Grandma's house. So at the engagement party, when Brooke toasted the house like it had been an old couch finally hauled away, I did not throw my plate down. I did not scream. I opened my phone and checked my email for the message I had been waiting on all afternoon. It was from the county recorder's office. Subject line, "Certified copy ready for pickup." I put the phone back in my purse and looked at my sister smiling under a wall of white balloons. For the first time in months, I felt calm. Grandma's house was a small yellow place on Maple Row, with a porch that leaned slightly left. She bought it with my grandfather in 1978. After he died, she refused to leave because every floorboard had a memory. In her last year, I handled the bills. I paid the taxes twice because my parents said they were between accounts. I fixed the furnace with money I had saved for a vacation. I kept every receipt because Grandma told me to. "Paper remembers," she used to say. "People pretend they forgot. Paper doesn't." 2 months before she died, she asked me to drive her to the county office. "I want to clean something up," she said. She was tired that day, but stubborn. She wore her green coat and carried a folder against her chest. At the clerk's counter, she signed paperwork transferring the house into a life estate arrangement. She kept the right to live there until she died, but the deed recorded me as the remainder owner. I did not fully understand it then. "Grandma, are you sure?" She squeezed my hand. "You kept this house alive. They will sell anything that is not nailed to your name." After the funeral, grief made me slow. My parents moved fast. They cleaned the house while I was at work. They changed the locks. They told the neighbors I was too emotional to help. Then I saw the listing online. 3 bedrooms, original hardwood, motivated sellers. Sellers, not owner. Sellers. I called my father. "Why is Grandma's house listed?" "Because it is ours to list," he said. "Mine," I said. My voice sounded small even to me. He laughed. "Claire, your grandmother said a lot of things near the end." That sentence kept me awake for 3 nights. On the fourth day, I called the county recorder's office. A woman named Mrs. Alvarez listened while I stumbled through my question. "Do you have the parcel number?" she asked. I did. There was a pause. Then she said, "Honey, you need to come in." I drove to the county building on my lunch break with my stomach folded into knots. The recorder's office was on the second floor, past a hallway that smelled like old paper and floor wax. Mrs. Alvarez was waiting behind the counter, with silver glasses on a chain around her neck. She did not ask me to explain everything again. She just asked for my ID and disappeared into a back room. While I waited, I stared at a bulletin board full of notices nobody wanted to read. Tax liens, public hearings, probate filings, the quiet machinery of lives being changed by paper. When Mrs. Alvarez came back, she laid 3 pages on the counter. "This is the recorded deed," she said. "Your grandmother knew what she was doing." My hands would not move. She turned the paper gently so I could read my own name. Remainder interest to Claire Elise Whitman. "Does this mean I own it?" I whispered. "It means your grandmother kept the right to live there for the rest of her life," Mrs. Alvarez said. "And after her passing, the interest transferred to you. I cannot give legal advice, but I can tell you this document is recorded, indexed, and public. Public. My parents had not missed it because it was hidden. They missed it because they never believed Grandma would choose me." Mrs. Alvarez watched my face and softened. "Families get strange around houses. They already listed it." She pressed her lips together. "Then you should get certified copies. More than one." "How many?" "If it were my family," she said. 3. I paid for the copies with a debit card that shook in my hand. Before I left, she wrote the parcel number on a sticky note and circled the book and page reference. "Do not argue feelings with people who are ignoring records," she said. "Bring records." That sentence became my spine. For the next week, I did not confront anyone. I gathered paper. I found the furnace invoice I had paid, the tax receipt, the canceled check for the roof patch, the pharmacy calendar with Grandma's handwriting, a letter from her doctor saying I was the person authorized to discuss care. None of those things gave me ownership, but they told the story around the deed. I also drove past the house at night. The first time, a stranger's car was in the driveway. I parked across the street with the headlights off and watched my parents carry boxes from the porch. My father had Grandma's brass lamp under one arm. My mother held the quilt Grandma made the year I turned 16. I almost got out of the car. Then I remembered Mrs. Alvarez. Bring records. So I stayed still and took photos. The second time, I saw Brooke on the porch with her wedding planner. She pointed toward the garden and laughed. I could not hear what she said, but I saw her lift both hands like she was describing flower arrangements. Grandma had planted marigolds along that walkway because rabbits left them alone. Brooke had once complained they were ugly. Now she was spending them in her head. I sent one email to the title company listed on the sale paperwork. I wrote only, "I believe the sellers of 114 Maple Row may not have legal authority to sell. I am the recorded remainder owner. Please confirm before closing." I attached nothing. Not yet. The reply came 12 minutes later asking for documentation. I waited until the morning of the engagement party. Some people might call that dramatic. Maybe it was. But my parents had chosen drama when they let my sister toast with stolen money. I was simply choosing an audience that matched the lie. At Brooke's engagement party, my parents acted like everything was settled. The buyer was coming the next morning to sign final documents. Brooke had already upgraded her flowers. My mother kept telling guests, "We wanted to give her the wedding she deserves." No one asked what Grandma deserved. Brooke floated over to me in a satin dress and touched my sleeve. "You okay?" she asked. "Fine." "You look weird." "Just tired," she smiled. "Mom said you were upset about the house." "Don't be. It's not like you could afford to keep it." I looked at her hand on my sleeve. "Brooke, did you know they were using the sale for your wedding?" She rolled her eyes. "Claire, everything is not an attack. Some of us are moving forward. With Grandma's house. With family resources." There it was, the polite phrase for theft. My fiancé, no, her fiancé, Mark, came up behind her and kissed her cheek. He seemed nice enough, a little nervous. He looked at me and said, "Your grandmother must have loved knowing the house would help bring everyone together." I almost laughed. "She loved accurate paperwork more," I said. Brooke frowned. "What does that mean?" Before I could answer, my father's phone rang. He stepped into the hallway. I watched his face change through the glass door. First confusion, then irritation, then fear. He came back into the room and went straight to my mother. They whispered. My mother looked at me, then looked away. 5 minutes later, the real estate agent arrived. Her name was Dana Morris. I recognized her from the listing photos. She was carrying a tablet and looked like someone had ruined her weekend. "Claire Whitman?" she asked. The room quieted because people love drama as long as they can pretend they are concerned. "That's me," I said. Dana swallowed. "I apologize for interrupting the event, but I need to verify something immediately. Are you the recorded owner of 114 Maple Row?" Brooke laughed. "What?" My father snapped. "This is not the time." Dana did not look at him. "Actually, Mr. Whitman, it is exactly the time. The title company flagged the deed this afternoon. The sale cannot proceed without Ms. Whitman's signature." My mother put her hand to her chest. "There has been a misunderstanding." I took the email printout from my purse. "No, there has been a sale attempt." Brooke's face drained of color. I handed Dana the certified copy I had picked up an hour earlier. Mrs. Alvarez had stayed late because she said she knew what it looked like when families tried to bury paperwork under grief. Dana read the first page. "This deed was recorded 9 weeks before Mrs. Whitman's death," she said. "Claire is the remainder owner. Your parents had no authority to list the property." My father stepped toward me. "You little snake." That was the first honest thing he had said all night. Mark looked at Brooke. "Did you know?" Brooke's eyes filled with tears, but not the sad kind, the angry kind. "Claire ruins everything," she said. Mark stepped away from her. It was only one step, but everyone saw it. "Brooke," he said slowly, "did you ask where the money came from?" She turned on him. "Do not do this. That is not an answer." My mother moved between them like she could physically block the question. "This is a family matter." Mark looked around the room. "You invited my family here. You announced the house sale in front of my parents. You let us put deposits down based on money you did not have. It became my family matter the second you asked me to sign vendor contracts." Brooke's mouth opened, but no sound came out. For years, I had watched her escape consequences by becoming upset first. If she cried, everyone rushed to fix the feeling instead of the damage. But Mark did not move toward her. He looked at Dana, the real estate agent, then at the certified deed in my hand. "Is this fraud?" he asked. Dana chose her words carefully. "It is a serious title issue." My father barked. "No one defrauded anyone. My mother intended the house to benefit the family." I laughed then. I could not help it. Everyone looked at me. "Dad," I said, "you did not visit her enough to know what she intended for lunch." The room went so quiet, I could hear the ice machine in the kitchen. My father's face turned red. "How dare you?" I dared every morning at 6:30 when I changed her sheets before work. I dared every Saturday when I cleaned that bathroom because her hands hurt. I dared when I paid the winter tax bill you said you would handle. I dared because someone had to. My mother whispered, "Claire, stop." That was the first time she sounded afraid of me instead of annoyed. I looked at her. "No, you taught me to stop for 32 years. I am not doing it tonight." Brooke wiped her cheeks with the back of her hand. "So what? You want us to cancel everything? You want me humiliated?" "No," I said. "I wanted you to care before the money disappeared." "You are jealous." "Of what?" She gestured around the room. The balloons, the flowers, the photographer frozen near the doorway, pretending not to film. "Of this." I looked at all of it and felt something almost like pity. "Brooke, if someone has to steal a dead woman's house to give you a perfect day, then the day was never perfect." Something inside me finally loosened. I had spent my whole life believing that if I became easier to love, they would eventually notice. If I asked for less, if I helped more, if I did not make it ugly. But the truth was already ugly. I had only stopped decorating it. "The house is not for sale," I said. My mother whispered, "What about the wedding?" I looked at Brooke's balloon wall, the champagne, the photographer, the flowers already paid for with money that never existed. "You still have a wedding," I said. "You just have to pay for it with something that belongs to you." My father called me selfish. My mother called me cruel. Brooke called me jealous. Dana called the title company. That was the only call that mattered. The sale collapsed the next morning. The buyer backed out when he learned the listing was unauthorized. My parents received a warning letter from the brokerage. Their attorney advised them to stop contacting me about the property unless they wanted a much larger problem. 2 days after that, I met with a lawyer named Pamela Singh. Her office was above a bakery, and the whole place smelled like cinnamon rolls. I remember that because grief has strange bookmarks. Years later, you forget entire conversations, but remember the smell in the room where your life became yours again. Pamela read the deed, the tax receipts, the listing, the photos of my parents removing boxes, and the text messages where my mother told me to let the house serve the whole family. When she finished, she took off her glasses. They knew enough to know they should ask questions, she said. Can they fight it? Anyone can fight anything if they have enough anger and money, she said. But the deed is strong. Your grandmother planned well. My eyes burned. She was sick when she signed it. My dad keeps saying she was confused. Pamela tapped the page. The notary log says she presented ID. The recorder accepted it. The witnesses signed. Unless they have real medical evidence, that accusation is smoke. They will use smoke, I said. Then we answer with paper. There it was again. Paper. For the next month, my parents tried every door except the honest one. My father called my boss and said I was having a family crisis. My boss, who had watched me come in early for years after caring for Grandma, told him never to call again. My mother sent my aunt to talk sense into me. Aunt Linda arrived with a casserole and left with a copy of the deed. She called me the next morning and said, "Your mother did not mention this part." Brooke posted a vague message online about betrayal. It got 43 sympathetic comments before Mark's sister replied, "Is this about the house your family tried to sell without owning?" The post disappeared within an hour. I wish I could say I enjoyed all of it. I did not. There is a kind of pain that comes after you win, when your body finally understands how long it has been bracing. I would wake up at 3 a.m. thinking I heard Grandma calling. I would drive to the house and sit in the driveway, unable to go inside because every room held both love and theft. One afternoon, I found the hall closet empty. That closet used to smell like cedar and raincoats. Grandma kept board games on the top shelf, wrapping paper in a tall bin, and a blue umbrella she refused to throw away, even though it opened crooked. My parents had cleared it out. I sat on the floor and called Pamela. "Can I report missing items?" "Yes," she said, "but decide what result you want." I looked at the empty closet. What did I want? The lamp? The quilt? The umbrella? I wanted a mother who would have said, "This belongs to Claire." I wanted a father who would have carried boxes into my car instead of out of the house. The law could return objects. It could not create parents. So I made a list of what mattered, sent one formal demand letter, and let the rest become evidence of who they were. 3 weeks later, Mark came by with 2 boxes. He and Brooke had postponed the wedding. "I found these in her storage unit," he said. "I thought you should have them." Inside were the brass lamp, the blue umbrella, and the quilt. There was also a framed photo of Grandma and me on the porch, holding a tomato between us like a prize. Mark looked embarrassed. "I am sorry," he said. "I should have asked more questions." "You are asking them now." He nodded. "That family does not like questions." No, I said. They like answers they can spend. He almost smiled, then left. I carried the boxes inside and put the lamp back where it belonged. For 2 weeks, my mother sent messages. Grandma would be ashamed. Family should share. You are punishing your sister. I did not answer until she wrote, You are choosing a house over us. Then I replied, No, you chose money over truth. I am choosing the truth. I moved into Grandma's house at the end of spring. The porch still leaned left. The tomatoes needed new soil. The kitchen smelled like dust and lemon soap. I slept on an air mattress the first night because my parents had taken most of the furniture. But on the counter, under a stack of old seed catalogs, I found a note in Grandma's handwriting. Claire, if you are reading this in the kitchen, then the paper did its job. Do not let them tell you love means surrender. Sometimes love means leaving someone a key and making sure no one can steal the door. I sat on the floor and cried until the room blurred. Brooke did get married, smaller than planned. I was not invited. That was fine. Some absences are peaceful. The next summer, I planted tomatoes in Grandma's garden. I talked to them because she was right. They did taste better that way. And when the first one ripened, I cut it in half, sprinkled salt on it, and ate it on the porch of the house everyone said was not mine. Paper remembered. This time, so did I. If your family sold something your loved one left for you, would you fight quietly through the law or confront them in front of everyone?